People deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian. And
with an introduction like that, what more can I say? People deluded, I'm back again. Happy Friday, folks. Hope you're all doing well and safe. Appreciative to you lot, whether you're on Twitch or YouTube. If you're on YouTube, smash the like button. The road to 70k continues. Any comments, questions, all of that stuff, make sure you get them in. Now, again, we play West Ham United on Saturday. Tomorrow, we'll be doing a watch along. And it's a big festive period for Arsenal. Again, I can't say we've turned our form around and things like that. But what has happened after demolishing Sporting Lisbon and obviously winning 3-0 against Nottingham Forest is there's a bit of a feel-good factor. We're scoring goals. We're playing silky football. And we're beginning to turn things around now. We've got West Ham United. We've got Manchester United. We've got Monaco. We've got, who else? We've got Fulham coming up. From now, really and truly, until February, there's some tough games. And there is a point in the next, I think starting from next week, we're actually playing every 4 days. So it's a big test on the squad. We're getting some players back. Obviously, everybody apart from Benjamin White and Tomiyasu is essentially back. But it's going to be a test for the squad. And if you're as young as Lewis Skelly and Ethan, or as old as Jorginho and I guess Thomas Partey, everyone's going to have to be utilised. We have to go on a run. It's all fun and games looking at Manchester City, and they're making hard work of their own title challenge, hoping Liverpool drop points, even though they look unstoppable. Both teams are playing each other on Sunday, in which we'll be doing a watch along. We need to be able to take points, and we need to go on a run. And if we're honest with ourselves, we've left ourselves at this moment in time little to no margin for error. Now you can look at the fixture calendar list and say it's been a tough start, and that is true. We have had a tough start to the season, and you could look at referees, but the referees, we can't control that dynamic. Obviously, there's been some games that, you know, the Bournemouth, the Newcastles, that we just simply not turned up. Everybody has to play everybody twice, and I'm sure every club in this Premier League, all of their fans will look at a certain part of their fixtures and say that's a tough run of games, really. You know, to be honest with you, Liverpool have kind of gone through that now, really. What they're playing City, they've played us, they've played Real Madrid. There's been some quote unquote difficult games for them and more to come. So we need to go on a run, man, because if we don't win this league title and Slot does, there's definitely question marks for Mikel Arteta. If Pep Guardiola somehow turns it around and Arsenal don't win the league, Liverpool's irrelevant to me in a sense. There's going to be question marks, man. There's been a lot of money spent. There's been a lot of development. We've been the bridesmaid for a while. It's time to get over the line. It's those fine margins, people. We can talk about January and all of that stuff. It's irrelevant to now. Obviously, David Ornstein has spoken about Arsenal's potential transfer business. We're going to go over what Mikel Arteta has had to say and all of that stuff. Again, make sure you're smashing that like button, and make sure you join me tomorrow at 4:30, because I think we kick off at 5:30 for West Ham v Arsenal. Mac, one love, man. Oliver, we're back again. Big up, people. Yo, DG, how you feeling? Much better. I'm on the mend, man. My voice sounds a bit better. I've just had so much medicine, man. The medicine's disgusting, but it is doing its thing, man. And it's nice to have, like, how do I describe it? It's nice for my chest to feel normal. My chest felt like that, like, and then it's gonna sound disgusting, but there was hella mucus and things like that. Where you could feel it there, really, and you lot could hear me coughing up the place. Appreciative to you lot for actually putting up with that. But yeah, man, it is what it is, man. Should we crack on with things, people? Because I'm sure this is what you're here for. So yeah, if we crack on with things and get into stuff, obviously, people, allegedly, Court of Side have said Arsenal have as many as 6 attackers on their list of transfer targets. The Swedish or Swedman, no, it's Swedish. Sweden's very Alexander Isak, you know, Slovenia's, I don't think that's the Slovenia flag, but Benjamin Sesko, Cameroon's Brian Mbeumo, Italy's Matteo Retugi, Liam Delap's been linked with us this week, and Randall Koulibaly of PSG has been linked with us. Now, I don't think we sign any of them in January. You never know. Some might be more attainable than others. You know, you throw in a couple of other names. We've been linked with Kudus. We've been linked with several players. You know, of that list, I'd say Koulibaly is probably the more attainable, because he can't buy a game at PSG and you could facilitate a loan. Isak, we know, unless you're talking 100-odd million quid, you can forget about that. Sesko's got a release clause. Very much doubt he's going to want to leave mid-season. Brian Mbeumo, you know, it was quite testing. Thomas Frank said that they had to persuade him to stay in the summer. You never know. You could test the waters in January, but would they want to let a key player for them go lightly? Retugi, I'm sure we've scouted him. He's having a great season for Atalanta, and obviously we need a striker. Liam Delap looks like he's finding his feet for Ipswich, and with the greatest of respect to Ipswich, if they do get relegated, You know, Manchester City have a buyback clause. Arsenal, Manchester United, every club has been linked with Liam Delap. Colomani, I don't really buy it, if I'm honest with you, man. Blacker, appreciate that. And I hope you lot are doing well and safe. If those are the options, I'm only hearing Isaac, to be honest. Of the whole list, that's there. For me, yeah, man, bring Isaac. I wouldn't mind Sesko. I think Embuemo could offer us some versatility and a good little player there. I do like Liam Delap. He is 21. Not of the names there, I do like what I see from Ritugi. I'm not a fan of Koulibaly. Now, if he signed for us and he was a hit and he, you know, was like French strikers we've seen in Anelko and Omri, I'll be the first to hold my hands up and I'd want him to do well. I don't think he's levels, if I'm honest with you. I don't think he helps us. Now, the Athletic have been speaking. Arsenal's transfer deal sheet. What to expect in 2025? The November international break provided Arsenal with an opportunity to plot their transfer moves for 2025. Arsenal's manager Mikel Arteta, managing director Richard Garlick, executive vice chair Tim Lewis, and interim sporting director Jason Ito were among the group who flew to LA to meet with the Cronkies, which we have known, people. It's always really positive to spend time together, said Arteta. Obviously, we had time to talk about transfers, but as well about the club, how they are feeling about what we're doing, how we are feeling about where we want to take the club, the next direction. Obviously, outgoing sporting director Edu. I mean, that's great, but are we going to get into the thick of this? Arsenal know they're at a point in their trajectory where they need to take the final step of winning major honours, do they? Arteta and Edu designed a 5-stage plan for Arsenal's future and considering the club to be at stage 4. So we're at that pivotal time now, aren't we? The 2 transfer windows of 2025 could provide them with the opportunity to move into that final phase. I'm probably more bullish, if anything, for the summer than in January. Of course, if there's deals to be done in January, fair enough. But as we know, that's a reactive window. What positions will we be looking at in 2025? As in the summer of 2024, Arsenal would like to add to their attacking options. That includes the potential addition of a new centre forward. They also are open to adding a wide player, particularly someone who can provide competition and cover for Bukayo Saka on the right. If an obvious upgrade became available on the left wing, that too would be of interest. Raheem Sterling's loan deal from Chelsea comes with no buy clause attached, so it's not expected to be an encumbrance. Arsenal are likely to have other business to attend to in 2025. There's an acknowledgement within the club that the midfield requires some rejuvenation. Recent signings such as Jorginho, who ironically once upon a time was signed in January, Mikel Moreno, have been at the more experienced end of the spectrum. Jorginho and Partey are both due to run out of contract next summer, and Arsenal may look to freshen up their midfield with a more youthful addition. Well, when you look at our links here, we're linked with, whether we sign Zubimendi or not is another thing, but we're linked with Zubimendi. We're linked with a lot of 6s. Now, Mikel Arteta knows more about football than me. In Mikel Arteta's mind, I think Declan Rice is a 6, but he sees him as someone that is an 8 as much as a 6. I personally think we need someone that is more of an 8, more of a Santi Cazorla when we saw him playing midfield, more of a Cesc Fabregas, even more. If it is a 6, it's got to be more of a cultural 6, like a Jorginho, if I'm honest, because I think we've got a lot of draw winners. We don't really have people that can consistently break lines and things. Thomas Partey can do that, but I mean, the man's 31, turning 32. Smash the like button if you haven't, and let me know your thoughts. So we haven't learned anything new per se at this moment. The goalkeeping position is also likely to require some attention, although David Raya is now under long-term contract. Deputy Neto is only on loan from Bournemouth, and we ain't seen him kick a ball. Pick him up. Arsenal also hope to sign an experienced third-choice goalkeeper last summer, as you saw with the pursuits of Dan Bentley and all of that. If Neto does not join permanently, they may pick up that search again. We got no choice, if I'm honest. Are there any players they're already looking at? In an ideal world, Alexander Isak is precisely the type of forward Arteta would like to add to his attack. Athletic, intelligent, versatile, and Premier League ready. The obvious obstacle, however, is cost. With Newcastle desperate to hold on to their star man, such a deal might not prove feasible. We need a lot of, in my opinion, we need a lot of moving parts. We need a lot of pieces to fall into the puzzle. You know, first of all, obviously, Isak, I'm not saying necessarily burn bridges, but you'd have to make it evidently clear to the Newcastle hierarchy, Eddie Howe, and indirectly Newcastle fans that I want to cut. Arsenal need to be able to, you know, he'll probably end up eclipsing Declan Rice because you need to be talking 100-odd million quid or something. You know, Newcastle paid a pretty penny for him. Bearing in mind, he's got 4 years left on his contract. I'd love Isak. If money wasn't a thing and we could sign whoever we wanted, he's the first choice for me, but it is what it is. Last summer, Arsenal were interested in RB Leipzig's Benjamin Sesko and are likely to return to the table should he leave Germany next summer. There are other attacking targets in mind, with Arsenal prepared to move for a goal-scoring wide player if a centre-forward proves elusive. And I'm not against that. Ideally, I want a striker and another winger or wide man, but I wouldn't be against copying the Liverpool model if you have Saka getting double figures, whoever that new man on the left-hand side getting double figures, Kai Havertz chipping in, Martinelli and Trossard, and you get where I'm going, chipping in, even Martin Wondergaard. Having signed a number of experienced players such as Jorginho, Neto, and Moreno, there is a desire among the club's leadership to return the focus to younger players who represent a better profile of investment. Who are they looking to sell? Move for a new forward could see Arsenal part ways with Gabriel Jesus. It's looking like that, really. The Brazilian who joined the club in 2022 has struggled for form and fitness of late. Zinchenko is another whose future could be in some doubt. His contract expires in the summer of 2026, and as yet, there are no news on a potential extension. With Calafiori having emerged as Arteta's first choice left back and the emergence of academy player Miles Lewis-Skelly, Zinchenko could be deemed dispensable. Polish international defender Jakub Kiwior is another who may look to move on in order to play regular first-team football. The 24-year-old is yet to start a Premier League game this season. For me, I could understand if he wants to move on in January, but I wouldn't let him go, especially as we never see Tomiyasu and all of these kind of things. But this is what I mean in that when you look at it on the face of it, yeah, we've got stability, but then, and we know it's not FIFA. We're not going to see 10 players come in and 10 players go out, but for a variety of reasons, whether it's them dropping down the pecking order, not getting football, contracts, age, whatever have you, you can make a case of Kiwior leaving, Jesus leaving, Tomiyasu leaving, Zinchenko leaving. Who else is there? There's a few. Jorginho, Thomas Partey, Neto and Sterling. They're only on loan, but their positions are going to have to be filled, kind of thing. If you get where I'm going, so there is also that to consider. And you know, Zinchenko, I know his stock has fallen, and to be honest with you, I know it isn't in the realms of how we wanted to see it, but the roles that Gabriel Jesus and Zinchenko have, this is what we should have done from the jump. This was their roles at City. If they can help us, great, but we're not living or dying by them. And I know people will look at the wage, and of course, you know, if he was to shed, in particular, Thomas Partey, Gabriel Jesus and Zinchenko off the wage bill, that is a serious savings, if I'm honest. But surely we're going to get into a realm where in an ideal world, we're winning not just a title, but several titles, where we're going to have squad players on big boy contracts, if that makes sense, people. But you get the point. Kiwior, I understand if he wants to leave. I always wonder why he didn't leave in the summer. You know, did Mikel Arteta, you know, managers are good liars. Did he tell him, no, you're going to get your chance? Did he want to have another crack at trying to break in? Is he just comfortable in London? Or was the alleged interest from several Italian clubs just overstated? I don't know, people. And we've also got to remember there's a lot of players that are also still on the books that are not at the club. The Marquinhos, the Lokongas, as it says here, the Reece Nelsons. Tavares' loan to Lazio is going to become permanent, in which I'm not faulting it because he needed to go, but the minute you've kind of loaned him out with an obligation to sell, you see in it, you know, Tavares is getting a whole heap of assists. Lazio, when the time comes to sell him, they're going to make profit. And obviously he's been capped by his country, Portugal, now. So it would have, hindsight's a wonderful thing, but if we just gave him a dry loan and we took him back, we might have been able to make a few quid there, people. Who will make the key decisions over the transfer windows? Obviously, whoever the sporting director is not just going to have to focus on incomings and outgoings, but they're also going to have to deal with the Salibas, the Sakas, the Ethans, these new contracts. But you would imagine significant groundwork was done with Edu. Someone picks up the piece, and regardless of that, the Kroenkes, Arteta, everybody kind of knows what needs to be done. So we don't really have to waste time with that. What is their PSR position? Arsenal recouped significant funds in 2024 through the sales of players, including Emil Smith-Rowe, Eddie Nketiah, and Aaron Ramsdale. So their net spend was not particularly high. This was done by design by offsetting purchases against sales. Arsenal forfeited their profit and sustainability position and ensured they should have significant flexibility in the market moving forward. Now, I understand wanting to sell, because I understand it if the Kroenke said, rightly or wrongly, whether I want this or not. I understand if the Kroenke sat there with Edu and Arteta and saying, we spent a lot of money, he ain't really done nothing in terms of outgoings, something needs to change. And when you look at what we just read there, when you look at the summer we really had, yes, big up Mikel Moreno for what he brings to the squad. Shout out to Calafiori. Beyond that, though, we scrambled for a goalie, got a little cheap loan in Neto. Fair enough. I'm not even dissing Sterling, but the backdrop of how we signed Sterling after going for Nico Williams and all these guys, not getting in a striker, this probably tells you indirectly, they're not, as I personally feel, the figureheads at Arsenal are not as aggressive in wanting to win a title potentially as us. Now, to be fair, we're just football fans. We don't know all the other isms and schisms, so it's a bit techie, if I'm honest with you. I think we've gone over this already. And you look at Arsenal squad minutes, people. You can see who plays the majority of games, and And who doesn't? Now, obviously, near the lower end, Martin Odegaard would be a lot higher. He's been injured. Moreno's been injured. Calafiori's had an injury. We all know they're key players. Jorginho, obviously, a bit of a squad player. Zinchenko's stock has fallen. Sterling's not been given a chance. Tomiyasu can't stay fit. Obviously, Ethan and Lewis Skelly, they're still young, trying to get it looking, really. We've gone over the goalkeeping position. I mean, this is just the same article, really and truly. We ain't missed nothing. Fair enough. Says Chelsea are looking at Osimhen, who's not going to be made a permanent transfer at Galatasaray. Apparently, West Ham are looking at Ryan Cherky, a player that I've been badgering Arsenal to try and go for, man. I personally don't want any transfers done without the new sporting director. I agree and disagree, because if we're really singing from the same hymn sheet, it shouldn't matter. But at the same time, nothing's going to get done unless my man's going to come in tomorrow, innit? Right now, Sociedad's Olabe, if you look at reports today, saying that we're going to go and get him, man. Time for the Twitch gang to rebel against the YouTubers who will one day be the true social gang. Big up you lot on Twitch. Afternoon, Watermelon Cat. What a name. As soon as I said it, you said it. Fair enough. What are you on about? What are you referring to? Next direction, the new direction with the brand new sporting director. I believe you will go for a goal scoring wide player. Your manager don't like out and out nines. He don't. And to be fair with you, I'm not against it. Like, I'm not against it. Of course, in an ideal world, I want a striker that can do all that modern day stuff that Arteta wants, but they're in the box. But I think a striker in this Arsenal system is a sacrificial lamb. I don't think Kai Havertz was near enough to one of our top goal scorers last season. But I think from what I've seen, I don't think a striker at Arsenal, unless Arteta tailors his system a bit like what Pep did with Haaland for that forward, I don't think they'll ever be our top goal scorer in the Prem, because your game is about sacrificing yourself. You know, you drop into midfield, you help out in midfield, you take runners with you. So the Sakas, the Martinellis, the late runners of Odegaard and even Declan Rice, and these players can take advantage. You're very rarely in the box. You're really just our first defender. You help with the press. And you're right, man. Like, obviously, I'm not going to be disrespectful to Mikel Arteta. You knew Kai Havertz could play up front. He scored the winning Champions League goal for Chelsea up front. But we all know that actually we kind of stumbled across him for performing up front. And big up Kai Havertz for the second half of last season. If being a prolific forward was the prerequisite of being a forward in Mikel Arteta's system, then you wouldn't have seen Lacazette. You probably wouldn't have seen Gabriel Jesus, even Eddie Nketiah and Kai Havertz. So you're right. Arteta don't really want that from a forward. So that's why I find it a bit weird with the Vlahovic thing. Now, obviously, managers can change their opinions. Where we were as a football club when we linked with Vlahovic to now is a completely different entity. But, you know, Vlahovic ain't really one of them press-centric kind of forwards. And even the other day, the last international break, he came out and kind of took digs at his club manager, Thiago Motta, and said he likes the fact that for Serbia, he doesn't have to do all of that. He can conserve energy. So for me, that kind of rules out you playing up front for Arsenal Football Club. You never know, though, because obviously Haaland's an anomaly, but Pep changed his system. We've seen Pep win stuff with strikers, with false nines, with no strikers. He's done it all, but he was prepared to change his system. And no matter how much the game changes, at the end of the day, goals win games, in it, and you're going to need to do that or facilitate that. Yes, you could say we got 90 goals last season, but when you break it down, how many came from set pieces? How many came from Bukayo Saka? He was probably the only one who did it for the duration of the season. Trossard is very hot and cold in that regards. Kai did it for the second half of the season. Odegaard will chip in with at least 9 or so goals. But when you break it down, we've got the capacity to score goals. We're not as solid goal scorers as we think, people. Obviously, like in the last 2 games, if Mikel Arteta puts the handbrake down and we're creating some more chances, we will score goals. And that's the main thing I liked about the Sporting game, in that it was nice to score from a set piece. In a nice way, none of the goals were glamorous. We're just creating chances, tap-ins, people are keeping it moving, really. Or even the penalty, that's come because we're creating chances. And there's a method to the madness with the overloads. And there's a bit of intention and spark and invention and the rest of it, if I'm honest with you, man. So I hear that. DG, what are your thoughts on the links to Adam Walton? Don't really buy them in January. He seems like he's struggling with an injury. Probably should have bought him when he was at Blackburn. Don't know if he's necessarily the midfield profile we need at this moment in time. But I think he's a decent passer. Think he's good in his role. I'm having him, if I'm honest, but Palace are going to ask for a pretty penny. We know what time it is, you know. Elise went for a fair deal, in my opinion, to Bayern Munich. We all know if Elise went to a Premier League team, how much that would have cost. You know, Crystal Palace probably faced the prospect of definitely, in my opinion, losing Gurhi in the summer, potentially losing Eze. I don't know if that's going to be his last season, and also potentially losing Adam Wharton. I mean, losing all 3 for Palace fans would be unthinkable. Shout out yourself, Dermot, man. Keep your thoughts coming. I want Isaac and Liam Delap. Isaac can cover the left wing spot as well, though I love Nico Williams. I hear it, and he can, and that could be an angle to play with Kai Havertz. But I'm not gonna lie. If you buy Isaac, you play him up front, man. You can drift out in the game out wide, but play him up front, man. For me, you don't spend that money and not play the man in his best position. I hear it though. Nico Williams he got an assist yesterday or the day before. He's been a bit cold since the Euros, but I'm still having him. It's just the wages that people probably not keen on. We're never getting a striker or Nico Williams, DG. Arteta's going to get another 6 because he's a sick man. To be fair, to be a manager, you got to be a bit sick in your head, man. A proposal to ban state-controlled clubs from English football has been included in the football governance bill. Man City and Newcastle could be forced to sell. I'm not an expert on legalities and things of that ilk, but it's going to take a lot to push that through. And you would imagine there'd be a lot of red tape. You'd imagine clubs would have to vote. I don't think that's going to happen. What I would say is it's about, to be honest with you, is an exaggeration to say that's about 10, 15, 20 years too late, because they called Wenger an old man for crying about this. Wenger said all of these things was going to happen really and truly. And it's too late now, man. It really is too late. And there's probably some legalities around that, if I'm honest with you. It's one of them where I'm sure they're trying to push it through. It sounds exciting, but when you break it down, I'm quite pessimistic on that happening. In my opinion, maybe Arteta thought Vlahovic could be the false 9. He's not robust enough, though, man, if I'm honest. Nico, he's a good player, but I did hear Arsenal may go back for Sesko, Brian Mbeumo. I'm having Mbeumo, to be fair, if the price is right. I think we look at elements of Brentford's system and ours. I think there's interchangeables. I think he's devastating on the counter-attack. I think he can play across the front three. And I think, whether it's Martinelli, Saka and Havertz, or, you throw Mbeumo into any combination, I think Mbeumo will be a good signing for us, really and truly. Personally, Arsenal need a Santi type 8 and a 6 that could do the Jorginho role, which is true. It'd be nice next season to see Declan Rice have a consistent partner, and for me, Declan Rice to just play as a 6. Rashford loan deal incoming. Don't hold your breath, Joe, man. DG, would you keep Partey for another season? Because in my opinion, he's been our best midfielder this season. I'm conflicted, on paper and what I'm seeing. I agree with you. Partey's been not just our best midfielder, but one of our best performers. And he's been fit. I don't know what he's changed, if he's changed anything in his personal life, in his rehabilitation. Obviously, he's not gone off and played for Ghana. I don't know. But on current form and what I'm seeing, we all know Partey's a quality player. I wouldn't mind keeping Partey for another year, or you give him a year extension and then have another year. I actually think he's got a 1-year option in his deal, some reports say. I wouldn't mind that. But at the same time, you have to have for me anyways, you got to have the Partey replacement in place. So you have your Declan Rice, and the next guy, you have Moreno in the cut, you have Partey. But then at the same time, how many times have we seen a man sign and play like this, get the new deal, and then it's more of the same, with the greatest of respect? Rice plays solo if he's playing the 6, no partner, 4-3-3. Hold up, man, are saying yes to Mbeumo, but not Leao. I'm having Leao. I'm having Leao. I just think Leao's incredibly overrated. I don't mean that as a bad player. I just think you're incredibly frustrating. I think you on the transition could be crazy. I think if you really, really listened to a manager and uncoached those bad habits, you could be a devastating player. I don't think you're worth 100 million quid. I think Mbeumo will be better value for money. I like Leao. I'm having both of them. You're going mad if you think Leao's worth 100 million based on what you're seeing. Based on this season alone, I'd give Partey a year extension. Partey for another year. Groom Miles Lewis-Skelly for the 6 role he's played there in the juniors. Lewis-Skelly, boy, if I was him, just stay patient, man. You're everything that Ainsley Maitland-Niles should have done under Arteta. Lewis-Skelly, with the transition that's probably going to happen with a couple of fullbacks and injuries on the right-hand side of that position, you can play left back, you can play right back, you can play in a more advanced midfield role. I think your future is in a box-to-box 6 role. So, yeah. Do you really think Rice has the passing quality to play a long 6 for Arsenal kind of up north? No, I don't think Rice's passing is ever going to be amazing. It's quite safe. And I don't know what people... Obviously, everyone can improve. But for me, I don't think people watch players, because Rice is in his mid-20s. He's played X amount of times for West Ham, for England, in the Premier League. He's been around for years. Bearing in mind, the man was a centre-half. When was Declan Rice ever praised for his passing? Now, don't get it twisted. You can pass the ball forward a bit more. There is a bit of a difference, but how much blood from a stone can you draw? You're never going to be Michael Carrick. You're never going to be Xabi Alonso. You're never going to be one of them, man. That's not you. So get someone who can do that, really. I don't like Rice in the 8. I like elements of it. I like his engine when he runs and takes a man with him. I like him pressing high up the field, but you're a 6, man, if I'm honest with you, man. Yeah. Listen, I'm not going to cry if we get Leao. I just don't think Leao's worth the money AC Milan are going to ask for, man. Like, I think Liao's a YouTube baller. She's also joins. What's changed? Because you're being a bit shameless, man. I've got the screenshots. But anyways, wouldn't mind Mudrik on loan in Jan. We're thin on the wings now, man. Like, let's stop this. I'd rather spend 100 million on Liao. Let's stop this hospice stuff, man. Like this children in need thing. Forgive my language. Like, we need to get away from this. Any player that's down on their luck. Like, obviously, if we sign Mudrik, he might not look like this Chelsea one, but dead, man. We don't need to carry. We're carrying too many players already. Like, forget all of that. Let's just sign someone that ain't got baggage. And when you look at it in hindsight with Mudrik, he probably weren't ready, you know, because I know Arsenal were going to spend the peas, but when you get away from Arsenal and Chelsea being linked with him, he was linked with, like, respectfully, Brentford, Nice, clubs of that ilk. So that tells me it was a thing where maybe people thought you need to go from Shakhtar, join one of these clubs as an intermediate step, show your thing, and then move to the bigger ones. I can see us moving on 5 or 6 players in the summer and moving for some big players after freeing up some more wages. Arthur, I don't doubt it, but for me, why I'm a bit pessimistic is it feels like that's the theme of Arsenal. We always do that. Like, and then we get to the summer, we don't do certain things. Then the PR comes out of this player weren't available. That we tried this, we tried that, we tried the third, and then it just repeats itself again and again and again and again. Liao is just a skinnier Adama Traore. No, you're going too far with that. DG, you're right in your assessment, and Buemo's better decision making than Liao. Liao will look ordinary in that Brentford squad. His decision making is better, but Liao could be a player. It's just you're very frustrated. I get very frustrated with players that got it within them. They're just minor tweaks Liao could make. He's no Owen Hargreaves. Hargreaves was cold. I don't know if that's a diss, but he was cold. To be fair, Arteta did mention Lewis Skelly can play 8, 6 and fullback. He should play there where he can get the most minutes for now and learn. And to be fair, if you're Lewis Skelly, or we know Ethan's almost exclusively played in midfield as a young player, whether it's your position or not, and maybe I'm naive, I don't really care. Like, I'm exaggerating, but if I'm Lewis Skelly and the gaffer says, no, it's not Lewis Skelly. If I'm Ethan and the gaffer says play left back, I'm on that. Like, obviously, Saka's probably not the best of examples, but Saka's probably always seen himself as a winger. Oh, Emre said play left back. Bro, play. You're playing minutes. You're learning and whatnot. You just want to play games, man. That's all you want to do. He doesn't have to be a ball playing 6. We are getting a left centre mid that can do what Odegaard does, aim high, Xavi Simons and Gavi type targets. Probably won't be those names, but if you could get people of that ilk, why not? DG, based on what you said on Rice, not enough passing quality to play the 6, and he's not 8. Is he at the right carpet? Mind you, I love him. He's cool, man. I think Rice's passing's okay. I'm just never going to expect Rice to split lines consistently. And for me, I just don't know how people got there, like, based on what they see. It's like Mikel Moreno. I don't understand how people were sitting there and comparing him to Granit Xhaka. They're quite different players. Like, he's another piano pusher. I don't know what people are expecting. It's like people call Mikel Moreno conservative on the ball, but then all he was talking about in the summer is duel winning, heading, and all of these kind of things. All Rice needs to do is be that ball winning, box to box, handbrake that he is in midfield. Anything, and I'm not saying you don't have to do more, but anything you do beyond that's a bonus. That's your remit. It is. Give me Mbuemo this January is very good. But are we naive? Half of these guys we're linked with, it comes down to the P's. Isaac, if you're going to put down 100 million, it whets the appetite for Newcastle. No clue what they're asked for Mbuemo, it whets the appetite. Just because we mentioned Liao, it whets the appetite. It does, you know, Kudus, it whets the appetite. It feels like you got to put the P's down, man. Our team is a second place team. We need to add more talent and skill. Competition is getting harder across the league. We need to just add top ballers and be a level above the rest. We have to add talent. I want Delap to replace Havertz. I hear it. Let's move on and see what else we got. Mikel Arteta has said we basically need to be perfect to finish ahead of Liverpool. Let's pause this because we don't want copyright issues. If they continue, then that's for sure. With the numbers they're producing and the amount of games they're winning, the focus is on us to maintain the consistency, especially in the performances that will give us the right to win games. Keep the availability in the squad. This is a long run. Winning lifts the energy and our confidence up. We had 2 big wins for us, and now it's about consistency and getting that momentum and take it further against a good opponent tomorrow and try to replicate the performance to win. That'll be lit. And is it just me? Obviously, we know we missed Odegaard for a while, but every time I see that he's missed 11, 12 games, it's like, wow, you've really missed a lot, haven't you? Gabriel Magalhaes apparently could be a doubt for the game on Saturday now. Mikel Arteta, I hope you're playing a bit of a game in that, because you can't really trust Arteta when it comes to players' injuries, definitely in this current period. But apparently he remains a doubt for Arsenal's game against West Ham after feeling discomfort late on midweek. As we know, Sterling was meant to come on against Sporting. He had to change it. Kivior came on. And then Gyökeres finally offered something after, getting no change out of Saliba and ironically Gabriel. He said, we'll have to wait and see. He said, not a lot because we have another training session. We have to see how the boys are today. A few of them weren't able to train yesterday, but hopefully they'll be able to train today. It feels like mind games from the gaffer, man. It feels like mind games. For what it's worth, apparently Benjamin White will be out for 3 months, people, after undergoing his knee surgery. On Thomas Partey, for what it's worth, Mikel Arteta said, we'll have time to discuss about the situation when speaking about a new deal. He's showing consistency at the highest level again because his availability and the way that he feels physically isn't allowing him to do that. I'm very happy with Thomas. Hopefully that is here to stay. On Lewis Skelly, he said, that's an option. He can play in 3 different positions. He can play as a holding. He can play as a left attacking midfielder. So, yes, gaps for him. And, you throw in fullback. But just wait for your chance, man. Martin Odegaard has said, I feel good. I think every game it's getting better. Being out for 8 or 9 weeks, it takes a little bit of time to get that rhythm back and to get full match fitness. But I feel pretty good. Apologies. I think I've done a good job being out and working hard. So I feel good now. It's the longest I've been out. I can't remember anything else that I've had that's been so long. So it was something new to me. I'm not used to watching the games from the stands, not training with the team. So it was hard. But the only thing you can do is work hard every day to make sure you come back as soon as possible, stronger and better. It was a chance to work on some other things, be a bit more in the gym and work on other parts of the body. Also, to watch the team from the stands is a bit different, but you can learn a bit from that. And that's what I did. When asked on the comparing the starts from this season to last, he said, I don't know if it's harder. I think we had a bit of a tough start to the season with a lot of difficult games, a lot of injuries, some games playing with 10 men, and the Premier League is hard, but I feel like we're in a good place, just getting better and better. The players are back now fit and we are looking strong. And I must admit, with this period coming up, I think we need Benjamin White, man, but it is what it is. We can't waffle about guys that are not here, man. So, yeah. The team is in a good state. We're ready. We're going to push. So we just have to keep going, working hard. I'm sure we're going to get better throughout the season. I hope so. We're going to need to if we want to win the Prem. The main thing is we have to take it day by day, game by game. That's important, to be in the moment and not looking too far ahead. We're confident, hungry, and coming in every day, pushing each other to be better. And that's what we're going to keep doing. It's a long season, so we're just going to have to keep working hard. I'm sure we're going to get better. Now it's time to look to the next game and try to win that. Fair play, man. Arteta spoke on his return, people. Naturally, I mean, I'm not going to read this, but Mikel Arteta, like a lot of us Odegaard fans, knows exactly what he means, people, to have our captain back. But we can see every word he said, people. We've gone over the fact he said not training. On Gabriel, he's remained quite coy and said wait and see. He got nothing to add. On the response after the international break, he said, I don't link character to winning. This team showed unbelievable character against Inter and we lost, showed unbelievable character against Chelsea. We were a better team. We didn't manage to win. Same players, same intention, being more efficient and winning matches. That's the difference. Smash the like button. On Lopetegui, now, I must admit, Arteta, it's the Spanish managers in the Prem that we move a bit, apart from Pep recently, that we move a bit mad with, people, and make sure Saturday we win in it. We need to go on a run. I know him. We are friends. I have huge admiration for what he has done in the game. He's from the same area as I am in the north of Spain. I mean, when we played Areola, same region, what happened? It's a team that's now in a high after a big win that they had against Newcastle away. It's a really tough opponent. We know that. And to be fair, he just about survived his job. Like a real El Sacico, apologies, with Ten Hag. We all saw it a few weeks ago. And we've gone over that. On whether he'll be watching Liverpool City. Now, I rate Arteta for telling the truth, but for me, I would have liked him to lie and say, I'm not watching it. I don't know why I would have liked that. I just like the mind games. 100%, it's a big match, beautiful match to watch. Two of the best teams in Europe facing each other, and competition for us, it's a big one. So for me, let's do our job on Saturday. You lot, whatever you're doing, whether you're going to watch it with the lads, whether you're going to watch it with your kids, whether you're not going to watch the game, you imagine Benjamin White's not watching Liverpool City. Make sure we do our job in it, because we hope. Who would you rather win? At this point, a draw would be perfect. You'd probably more want City to win than Liverpool. But I must admit, nothing to do with City fans and City as a club, just their players. I kind of wish their demise. Like, I think they're very arrogant. Like, I haven't forgotten Haaland's antics and how every one of those players turned into little babies of the aftermath of drawing with us. But fair enough. On who he wants to win, Yes, Arsenal tomorrow, that's the preference. Then we'll see. It's something we cannot control. On only one of the next 13 games being outside of London, that's bringing our step, really. Less traveling is always better. It's crazy that we have had many games so close to us. I think it helps because of the amount of games we have to play in that period is very high as well. We've gone over the Lewis Skelly thing. And whether the plan is to always build up on the right, I mean, we're just stronger on the right, really and truly. And Arteta's going to have to address that, if I'm honest. He said, not always. It's in relation to the opponent, in relation to the chemistry and the qualities of our players. In relation to the opponent, we will do different things. I mean, naturally, pardon me, two of our best players are on the right-hand side, so it's going to make sense. On West Ham strengths, various ways to create big problems. They're a really physical side, really good in direct play, attacking second balls where they have to dominate the game through the ball, or when they have space, they are really dangerous team. Set pieces and then individual quality they have. Now, they're obviously more than just Kudus, but I think I speak for Arsenal fans when I say, thank the Lord, Kudus is not playing. They have the front players can create in any moment, any situation to cause you trouble. They're really well coached. On the feeling among the players, obviously, we've gone over that. It's obviously going to be good when you've got 2 wins in the fashions we've had. We do need to build momentum. He said, I think so, but this is every 3 days. So it doesn't matter what you did yesterday. It's about the next days, the next performances. Are you able to sustain a high level performance throughout the game as well? Because of how competitive every opponent is right now. That's what we'll try to do tomorrow. On Odegaard's performances, we know he's amazing. We all know he makes our life easier. God forgive those who tried to mutter in reactionary faction that we are better without Martin Odegaard just because we won a couple games without him. I'm sorry, but you defo do not really truly understand football or Arsenal football if you ever tried to suggest that we're better. There might come a time one day where we are better without Odegaard, but that's not now. Like, that man is the nucleus of our team, the defensive and creative hub. He's the heartbeat of the team. Let's be honest. He's probably our most important player, give or take, with Bukayo. Saying that, you could throw the centre halves in there and a couple of others. So yeah, it does make our life easier. Big up William Saliba for getting 100 appearances for the club. Timber's form's been amazing, and for me to have Timber, Benjamin White, Calafiori, you just wish Tomiyasu could stay fit. We'd be lit, people. On Sterling's reaction after not coming on Tuesday, he had a big smile on his face. Fortunately for me, things happen in football. Unfortunately, it happened to him, and he reacted the best possible way, which is understanding. He's been a long time in the game. He knows that this is something I cannot control. On how that move has gone so far, I would like to see him more, to be fair, and this is down to me. I'm not gonna lie, this is where Pep always does this. Like, you know, when managers say it's my fault that the guy's not playing, you reckon? Come on, man, you don't really rate Sterling like that. Like, you're playing him off the right. Martinelli still plays whether his form is up or down. I do, having said that, just based on the amount of games and how quick, everyone's going to get their opportunity. So maybe places are up for grabs. I'd like to see him more, to be fair, and this is down to me. He's trying his best. His application and commitment around the team has been exceptional. And now it's the time for me to five more minutes. What? To five, I think they mean find him more minutes. Maybe the proofreader was dyslexic. I don't know, man. On whether we'll see more from Sterling this running, that's the intention. That's why I put him on against Forest. That's why I wanted to put him on against Sporting. Now getting into that rhythm because he can really impact the team as well. And you could extend that to Zinchenko and Jesus and all of these guys. And what he's made of City's form, what I've made of it is what they've done for 9 years. I think that's what people have to talk about, how difficult it is what they've done for 9 years consistently. A bump, everybody has a bump. For them, it's very strange because in 9 years, they've never had it. That tells you as well the level and the environment that we're in, that everything has to go almost perfect. The performance has to be perfect. The ability of your squad has to be perfect. Things have to go your way. The level of opposition is different, and it's so difficult to win. On whether their run has given everyone else an opportunity, I mean, I guess so, but man have to win our games. Liverpool have done what they're doing. We need to do the same. I don't know. I think everyone is dealing with their own business. We have enough. It's so hard. What the rest are doing doesn't really matter now. On whether the top two facing each other on Sunday makes the West Ham game even more important. It's a motivation to win our game because that would put us watching the game on Sunday in a better position. That's the task. I mean, big up Mikel Arteta. I don't think you relax after a game, so I'm not gonna speak thingy about that. He obviously talks to Pep, so we don't need to waffle about that. On whether he has looked into the injury problems. I mean, you said we had the smallest squad in February. In the summer, you said it was an anomaly to have kind of the clear run we had with injuries last season. Obviously, you look at Tomiyasu and Partey and actually Timber's injuries last season and think how that impacted us. Have we learned those lessons? I don't know. There was a big difference between the end of last season and the previous one, availability. You can tell that we do research not only when we have injuries, but when we don't as well, because people tend to look deeper at things when there's a problem. Amen. Just like when we're winning games and they don't want to talk about the issues across 90 minutes, not when everything is going very good. Dig in there because maybe you're doing something that are actually impacting what is happening. We've done a lot, not changing much. It's true that certain players come from a position where they've played over 130 games in 2 seasons, but a lot of things have impact on joints, which are not related to muscle injuries, which you can treat more. It's more difficult to control. I think we've gone over the party thing. So that ends what Mikel Arteta has had to say in the press conference, people. As usual, make sure we're smashing the like button. Good morning, Nicholas, man. Big up the Canadians. No Kudus or Paqueta. I hear it, but we've beaten teams and been beaten by teams without their key players. So naturally, obviously, that has a spring in your step, but we still need to go out there and do the job, man. I want Liverpool to win. City fans need to learn what it's like to lose 10 in a row. City ain't going to lose. I know that. Football's a weird game, and that it wouldn't shock me if City go and win. Who's Olabe? Currently, he will soon be departing Real Sociedad as their sporting director. Big up yourself, John. Any news on Tommy? Arteta ain't said anything, so that's that. Timber's been very solid at right back. I love Timber, whether it's left back, right back. I'm not really a fan of Timber as a centre half, but obviously he could do a job. We definitely missed Odegaard. Big up yourself, Del boy. Don't worry, we're going to get you on the platform. Uncle's playing for that new deal, that vintage drip. I appreciate it, man. I thought, let me get it out. I can't believe there were people trying to claim we would be better without Odegaard, the most quintessential player to what we're trying to do. Forgive them, innit? They didn't understand. Bro, you want players we have to pay. There's no escaping. No lower cost players are talent. Wait, what? Bro, you want the players we have to pay. There's no escaping. No, a lower cost player is a lower talent player. Guimaraes versus Moreno, for example, you can't win avoiding spending the piece. I'm with you with that. But at the same time, you can get good players for less. It's just we've got to, you know, when the opportunity presents itself, we've got to do that, which makes me question things because obviously we spent 100 on Declan Rice, 65 on Kai Havertz. What else is there? It didn't work, but we tried to put the piece down for Mudryk. So the club kind of find money or big money to kind of spend when it makes sense. But I agree with you. I think you can find quality without necessarily spending. But where you look at the, I guess, Leao's, the Guimaraes, the Isaacs, sometimes when the quality is just evident, just pay the P's. And I do think we're getting into that scenario where players that will make the big difference for us will do that. But then when we just read that Athletic article, it said younger profiles. Now, unless it's a Yalmao or players of that ilk, how many younger players does that kind fall into that bracket, if that makes sense? Arteta, we need Big Gabby Sunday, especially Wednesday. We need all our players, mate. We need every one of them. Mikel and Rice are bulldozers. They can't be forklift like Odegaard. Use your equipment that you need. Okay. I hear it, man. Come City. What do you mean? Big up DG in the nation in chat. Appreciate you, Nathan. So, yeah, that's the press conference. What else have we got? As we've been suggested indirectly, Crystal Palace allegedly are reportedly preparing to lose Adam Walton, with several Premier League clubs, including Arsenal, interested in the midfielder. They signed him in January for 18 million, and they're probably going to make a sizable profit. He's been good for them. Obviously, he secured a spot in England's Euros 2024 squad, and at 20 years of age, as it says here, he's got many admirers, and it seems like he's destined to join a bigger club. City, Liverpool, Arsenal, United. Now, if you're Palace and you really are going to lose him, you just want to bid him more. And it shows there is talent in the Championship, really. You know what? Walton was at Blackburn. Elise was at Reading. Eze was at QPR. There is talent everywhere, man. You can find players, whether you're going to spend P's or find them before they get to that level. How far does interest go? Because Arsenal, I have no doubt, might be interested in a young English centre mid, but being interested or liking a player is very different from preparing bids, indirectly talking with his people, trying to get a bid with Palace. Sometimes these things are overstated, people, and apparently Arsenal have already held some talks over potentially signing Walton and are hoping to sign Walton for a fee in the region of 55 million euros, which equates to about 45.7 million pounds. I don't believe it then. Obviously, he's 20 years ahead. Wouldn't be against it. But I don't know if he's the profile that we're seeking. I thought this was interesting, people. I was reading this earlier. Apparently, the Gunners sit 9 points behind Liverpool, and by most metrics, Arteta's sides have taken a step back from last season. I just want to know you lot's thoughts. Whether they narrowly miss out on the title to City for a second consecutive year. Arsenal scored 5 less than this point last season, and have also conceded 2 times more and dropping points in 6 of their 12 games, something that took them until match day 18 to do in the previous campaign, which does show, to be fair, no two seasons are alike. It would require 22 wins from their remaining 26 games to match last season's total, and with Liverpool's 2.58 points per game outpacing the 2.39 of last year's champions, even that may not be enough for Arsenal. A 4-game winless run in the league raised alarm bells at the Emirates, but Arsenal's 3-0 win against Nottingham Forest last weekend provided some temporary relief. But the win was Arsenal's first by a 3-goal margin of the campaign, and they require more from their forwards to have any hope of closing the gap on Liverpool, which is true. We know Saka produces a lot, but it's not always been because of that why we've been losing games. Is there anything else here? Come on, lie to us, man. Tell us Nico Williams has said he wants to join us. Chido B. Martin has signed a pro deal at United. Ain't no one give a fuck about him now, boy. Arsenal's pursuit of a new striker has taken a hit, with Victor Gyökeres keen on following Ruben Amorim to Manchester United, according to Football London people. Anyone having Verratti? Apparently, in recent months, the possibility of Verratti to Europe, returning to Europe, has been reactivated. Wouldn't mind him on loan. I know, but he's a baller. Liam Delap could leave Ipswich in the summer, just 12 months after joining. Liverpool, Manchester City, Chelsea, and Arsenal, allegedly courtesy of David Ornstein, are all interested. And I believe Manchester City have a 20 million buyback clause. Now, could they buy him back and then sell him, or could he be an understudy or a replacement to Julian Alvarez and an understudy to Haaland? I don't know, people. Damasio has said, it's already well known that Roberto Olabe will leave Sociedad, and I've been told that he is advancing talks with Arsenal to replace Edu, so I think he could start a new era at Arsenal. And I mean, he's worked with Arteta before. We've worked with Sociedad for numerous deals. He's incredibly experienced, so I wouldn't necessarily be against it. That just echoes what we've seen there already. Don't appear that there's nothing there. We were linked with Cunha, but I don't think that's gone anywhere. Arsenal and Liverpool scout world-class winger in Europa League this week. Who? Kubo, world class. I know you got to do clickbait, but everybody's world class these days, isn't it? Apparently, TBR Football understands that Kubo is once again attracting interest from the Premier League. The Japanese winger has long been regarded as one of Asia's potential superstars, and that began at just the age of 10 when he joined Barcelona's academy. He returned to Japan when Barca's move for him was deemed unlawful and settled with FC Tokyo, and made his debut aged just 15. After turning 18, he moved back to Spain with Real Madrid, landing him after he spent 4 seasons out on loan and never played a game for Los Blancos. Bit of a football scat, aren't you, really? He played for Real Madrid and Barcelona. Anywho, people, during his youth, allegedly, the likes of Arsenal, Liverpool, United, and City all tried to sign him. Now we can confirm that Arsenal and Liverpool have remained interest in Kubo's progress, while we can confirm Aston Villa and Newcastle have watched him. We can reveal Arsenal, Liverpool, Aston Villa, and Newcastle were all represented in Spain on Thursday evening, and they witnessed Kubo inspire Sociedad to a 2-0 win over Ajax as he scored and created the other. No doubt they might have been watching him, but they could have been watching other players as well. And if he's watching Ajax, if we're watching Ajax, could have been watching Zubimendi, could have been watching Hato, could have just been watching the game. So I guess we'll never really know. And we're still linked with Matteo Retugi of Atalanta, people. He seems to be the one that, when you get away from Gyökeres and Isaac and Sesko, it seems to be him. He's probably overtaken Vlahovic, in my opinion, where these rumors kind of start. Don't know where that comes from, but you know, he has been a great signing for Atalanta since joining them last season for 23 million. And if the 25-year-old is going to be sold to the English market, you'd imagine Atalanta want to make a significant profit on that, people. Don't forget, tomorrow we'll be doing up watch-alongs as well, folks. We are going to be playing Football Manager Twitch gang later today as well. We don't need Kubo, rather give me Mitoma. I'd be happy with both, man, because I think they're both techie. And I'm really thinking about things that are irrelevant from the football market. But when you've got an Asian player, like, it just opens up the possibilities of marketability over them sides. And I think it would be, okay, maybe I'm a football romantic, but I somewhat like the fact that, you know, you've got Ethan and Saka and Lewis Skelly and numerous players that have come through Haaland and left Arsenal. Obviously, you've got the Emirates paid off. You've got, you know, people that have worked with Wenger and retired in roles. Obviously, we've got Saliba, who's French, obvious French reasons. But Wenger was very big on the Asian culture and Japan in particular. So it'd be nice to have a Japanese player, and it would be nice to have a Japanese/Asian player that's actually rated, because let's be honest, we've had a lot of them and they've been meaty. Miyachi was meaty. Who's my man that was there when we won the league, man? He was meaty. The Park was meaty. Like, the Asian players ain't really been lit. So let's get a lit one. I'll take Kubo, even David, to be frank. I'm not really on the Jonathan David thing. Now I'm good on variety. Too injury prone. Have man looking like Gooner in the Prem. Fair. 100% agree, DG, about the championship, but some football fans have a snobby attitude sometimes when it's players in that league, which is true. But then people have that, and then you give it a year or 6 months, they start waffling about the same players. Tommy Yassi, how can I forget? Yeah, Tommy, you know what? Tommy Yassi's only been forgotten because he's not been fit. You see what I'm saying about Tommy? But yeah, that is romantic. So let's get another one. So God forgive me, Tommy, man. I wanted us to sign Matoma simply for him to teach Martinelli and Saka how to dribble. You can teach Martinelli. You don't need to teach Saka anything. But I like Matoma, but it don't feel he's been as good as when he first burst on the scene. I'm still having him, though. Since he came out with that uni piece about how to dribble, it's like people have actually read it and kind of clocked him. But he's a quality player. Wouldn't be against him. We definitely missed Odegaard, man. We definitely did. Is there anything else concerning Arsenal Football Club? Let's see. Oh, Arsenal Football Club. Come on, man. Lie to us, man. It's completely irrelevant, but did you not see Ronaldinho's free kick in the Legends game? The man still got it. Man said Rashford is cooked. Who's this? Let's see what that is. Let's go to page 2. We've already gone over Mikel Arteta's stuff. This Theo Philogene guy can play centre mid as well as fullback. You keep developing, maybe Arteta gives you opportunities in a couple of years. Really like that youth at Arsenal. What's going on here? No, Sesko hype. Forget about it, man. We've also been linked with Marcus Thuram, Marmouche of Frankfurt, John Duran of Villa, probably even more attainable. I wonder how attainable John Duran is, man, because he just signed a new deal. He's effed it. And once again, apparently we're considering a move for Mr. Delap, but then it's not just us. You've allegedly got Bayern Munich, Aston Villa, Newcastle, Borussia Dortmund, Leipzig, Ajax, PSV. Ipswich could demand as much as 42 million. Not if you go down. I'm not saying I wish that on them, but you get it, people. It could get long for them. Yeah, man. It's not about how good Kubo is. It's about his ingredients, left foot and could play. But of course, I hear that. But of course, it's about how good you are. Like, it is about how good you are. Like, of course, it's about how good you can become. But of course, it's about how good you are. But he does have ingredients. I just wonder, is he a bit too lightweight for the Prem? And again, I guess they're smaller players, but it's like the fight in the dog versus the size of the dog, man. How willing is he to get with it? But from what I see, I would not be upset if we signed Kubo. It wouldn't be my first target, but yeah, and to be fair, he plays for Sociedad. We've done a lot of business with Sociedad. We've probably heavily scouted Zubimendi. We obviously probably had scouts watching Tierney. We obviously had scouts watching Moreno, so we probably know all about Kubo and anyone else. We used to always get linked with the Sociedad players. Obviously, Robin Linomad? He obviously left, but he was one that we got linked with. Give it a few years and we'll get linked with more. I wouldn't expect either Kubo or Jonathan David to be our main striker. Kubo's not going to play up front, but I wouldn't expect us to sign a main striker. If we're not going to sign a main striker, then I'm going to look at it weird. But then you are right. You could sign the Jonathan David, Sesko, and they're kind of plan B, rotationary kind of options. I'm not too sure, man. But yeah, I think for me, if it was up to me, I'd want a number 9. But what would be my first priority? A number 8. A number 8 that's different to what we've got. And then I would say a striker / an inside forward. Because if you could get me someone that could put up Saka numbers, I might say, you know what, not forget the striker thing, but it's kind of cool. So I'd say them 2/3 positions. Obviously, we probably need a couple of goalies. I reckon we need another versatile defender, if I'm honest with you, such as what you've seen so far this season. The media was saying that. Yeah, I don't know about the teaching Saka how to dribble thing, but well, to be fair, you know, teammates should be able to teach teammates. He teaches Saka how to dribble. Saka might teach him how to score, and us Arsenal fans benefit. No Kudus or Paqueta. So they're going to be missing individual quality, but West Ham still got problems for us, man. Like, respectfully, like, you can't sleep on anyone in this league. And obviously, a bit like us, West Ham have got a win or two on the bounce or in recent games. I don't think their form's turned around, but it's a bit bullish. And where West Ham are concerned, if we beat them, I don't know what West Ham medias and fan channels are going to say, but I think it's not going to, for the wider media, it's not going to sell too many papers. If we lose, we all know the headline. So West Ham should be a bit fearless in that regards, people. For us, it's simple. We just need to win games. Like, we need to win every game that we can. Hope Liverpool and City drop points. Like the best case scenario would be either a draw or probably at this moment in time Liverpool losing. Next week Liverpool and City losing. The next week after that them not losing, and us just racking up the points, man. Essentially from now till January, boy, there's some tough games and they're coming thick and fast. Like I always do this, but boy, the games are not easy, people. Like if I share my screen once again, like, and again, bearing in mind we're basically playing every 4 days now. We've obviously got over the Sporting game now. We've got West Ham tomorrow. We've got Man United midweek. Then on next Sunday, we've got Fulham away, which, boy, that was probably our worst performance in the Premier League. Then we've got Monaco on the Wednesday. Then we've got, apologies, Everton. Then we've got Crystal Palace in the EFL. Then we've got them in the Premier League at Selhurst Park at 5:30. Oh, no one wants to play at Selhurst Park. Then obviously we've got Ipswich. And then you look at January, boy, you got Brentford away, Brighton away, North London Derby, and Aston Villa at home. Another game that dented our title aspirations. So from now till obviously the whole season, but from now to the 18th of January, boy, got to put up or sharp. And people can say, even games like let's be real, I expect to, regardless of what Crystal Palace is, I expect to win there. I expect us to be beating Ipswich. But Ipswich have showed Man United and Spurs, boy, don't sleep on us. No games are easy. And to be fair, Smith Rowe might have something for us here. Marco Silva's men are performing quite well. We don't know. Amarin, I think it's going to take a while to get where you're going, but you never know what could happen there. I'm in disagreement with all the content creators over Jonathan David. His versatility is a dream. Like, I'll take your word for it, man. What else have we got? Have I missed out anything? Timber's been solid. We definitely been over that. Very solid, man. And we finally got good problems, man. From going for respectfully from Cedric and Bellerin and Callum Chambers and Rob Holding and Pablo Marie and Socrates. And he was a calamity, but I don't like to throw him into this with them. Like David Luiz to now, Gabriel, Saliba. The only thing you can say about Tomiyasu is a lack of fitness. Calafiori, Benjamin White. The list goes on, man. Everyone apart from Kivior and Zini, really, if I'm honest. Based on this season alone, I'd give Partey a 1-year extension, but in his whole spell at Arsenal. No, and that's the thing. Like, if we don't give him a new deal and he goes and plays like this somewhere else again, we're like, what's going on? If we give him that new deal and he stinks up the place, it's, oh, what's going on here? What is going on here? Runnison was horrible. Oh, my God. No easy games in the Prem. Liverpool's dip incoming. Liverpool won't win every game. Like, of course, they're going to have a dip, but when you keep winning, there's a certain flaw in it. It's one thing talking about Liverpool dropping points. It's another Arsenal and City getting their stuff in order and being able to take advantage of these drop points. Not sure. We've got a mountain. Make no mistake. We've got a mountain to climb, man. I expect us to get 9 to 12 points in the next few games. Boy, expectations leads to disappointments, but we need to be looking at that. Move on the old players, in my opinion. We need a balance, man. We can't have too young of a squad. We definitely can't have an aging squad. Like, we're going to need to find that fine balance, if I'm honest. One thing I found funny is that we as fans should be scared of Liverpool. Should be scared of everyone. Fear is a good thing. You need fear in life, man. Fear is what drives you to do better, man. Fear of failure, fear of whatever. Like, end of the day, if we do our job, you know, what's done is done. Of course, if we could go back in time with the referees, with the drop points, with the dumb games, with the dumb things differently. We don't know what the future's going to say. We all see the fixtures. All we can do is live in the present and prepare. Well, if we were the players, which we're not, prepare for this West Ham game, deal with that. Hopefully we win it and take it from there, really and truly. But one thing's for sure. If you want to win this league, we're going to collectively have to get our act together. It's great to beat Sporting Lisbon. Fantastic to beat Nottingham Forest. But that don't mean much in the grand scheme of things. Need to keep going now. DG, I still want Gyökeres in Jan. Do you think this is possible? If you pay his release clause, everything's possible, but I don't think it's going to happen, really and truly. I don't think Arsenal are as keen on Gyökeres as the media make out. I don't mean they think he's a bad player. I just don't think they're on it. I don't think they're as imminent in trying to sign him, really and truly. But I'd love him. If you could do it in January, why not, man? But I don't see us paying that release clause, man. You never know. Weirder things have happened in football. Who knows, man? Well, with that being said, though, man, we've been here for an hour. Don't want to bore any of you lot. You ain't got no questions. So, yeah, man, Twitch gang, I'll see you lot in a bit to play Football Manager. Again, make sure your notification bells are on. I'll see you lot tomorrow at 4:30, an hour before kickoff. As usual, big up you lot for listening, commenting, all of these things, people. So, yeah, you lot stay safe, stay blessed. Peace.
Because you always just go active when like defenders.
I think if, like